Hello, I'm Catherine Sines, the president of the Rotary Club of Hudson. Rotary is a professional organization of a group of men and women who support Rotary International. We also join together by a common interest of service to our Hudson community, and we have a sincere desire to give back. We meet weekly on Wednesdays at Laurel Lake Retirement Community, 200 Laurel Lake Drive, in their dining room. We meet from 7:30 to 8:30 and would like to invite you to join us. For more information about Rotary, go to www.rotaryhudson.org. Enjoy the following excerpts from one of our recent meetings and consider joining us on Wednesday morning.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests.
Good morning, Ron.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms. Our invocation this morning is by Bill Woldridge.
I am here.
Yes, I know that. Saw you carrying all your stuff in.
Yeah. That's a promotion. You can you talk about that later.
I will.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, please bless this group of men and women as we go out and serve in this community. Thank you for all that you have given us in terms of worldly goods and for the wonderful city and country that we live in. And now we ask you to bless this food for us to nourish our bodies to serve in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bill. And to lead us in the pledge and four-way test this morning, our newest member, Pat Shearer.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the four-way test, first,
Is it true?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth.
Will be beneficial to all concerned. Thank you, Pat. You're well on your way to getting rid of that red badge then. And lead us in song. I didn't check, but I assume it's Chris Barker.
Sure, it will be. Thank you. All right, thank you, Marty Bach, for helping me pick out the song this morning. Today we're going to sing My Country 'Tis of Thee, okay?
My country 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And now our president, Catherine Sines.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see everyone. We have a lot of announcements today, but we're going to start with the announcement of our visitors. Chris, would you please announce?
Sure. Thanks. Good morning, Rotarians and visitors. We have a handful of guests with us today. If they could please stand when I call their names so we give them a warm Rotary welcome. We have Corinne Campman. She's a senior at Hudson High School, and she's one of the recipients of the scholarship. Thank you. And we have John Kane. He's a guest of Donna Kastner's. Thank you for joining us. And then from the wonderful Hudson Service Learning class, we have co-teachers Lonnie Banner and Marty Bach. And Mark Salem is with us once again.
Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. To start out this morning, I put several handouts on your tables. One of them was about the EMS issue that's on the ballot. It's a 0% increase vote. Sue Carter asked me to please put that out and ask everyone to please read it. If you have questions, she's willing to answer them, or I'm sure Mary Basil or one of the city council people could answer. And I think Mary Basil is going to talk about it next week. for a few minutes, but if you didn't notice, this was on the front page of the Hub, even telling everyone it's a 0% increase. Vote yes on number 8. So I'm not telling you what to vote, just giving you information to help you to understand it. Also on the table, I got a very nice email from one of the Boy Scouts who had spoke here a couple weeks ago, I guess might have been about a month ago, about their selling flowers. And anyone who knows me know I have this little pet peeve, I have a few of them, but that if a student or a child asks me to buy something, they have to ask me. Even Girl Scouts, I make the Girl Scout ask me, because the parents aren't selling them. And I thought it was very nice, his email, and then since we do sponsor that Boy Scouts troop, I just gave you all the information about buying the hanging flowers. I thought that was well written and very nicely done. So the next on the list is Donna Kastner. Has a presentation.
Good morning, Rotarians. One of the best things about being on the grants committee is being able to give away money. I love doing that. Ask my husband that. John Kane is with us. He's president of the St. Vincent de Paul Conference, and they are an extraordinary group who helps families in need in Greater Hudson. I think 62 families to date. All kinds of special works. There's a back-to-school supplies program. There's Christmas giving tree. They have a 24-hour helpline for families in crisis, and they are helping with rent and food and all kinds of needs. So, John Kane, if you could come up and we could present you with the $500 grant that we are awarding to the St. Vincent de Paul Conference. And yes, can you join me? And where's our photographer? He's ready.
That he has handouts on the table. I just want to mention that he also has handouts on the table to explain what they do and how you can help. Put Donna in the middle. That's all right. Or we'll put you in the middle. The rows between you.
There you go.
No, I can't cash this, right?
No.
Ran out of smarts.
I was going to say battery.
Hope it's as good as it worked there. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to?
I would.
Yeah. That's why I didn't say what I said. Okay.
Well, if I could start off first by just saying thank you. Thank you to all of you. The $500 grant is going to go a long way. I was thrilled a couple of weeks ago when Donna called me and told me about that our grant was approved, and then she told me about the breakfast, and then she asked if I wanted to say a couple of words, and I said I did, and that's where the phone call got a little strange. She said, well, you know, John, if you're going to get up here and speak, you have to promise me that you're going to follow the 3 B's of good public speaking. And I said, Donna, the 3 B's? And she goes, yeah, you're going to be prepared, be brief, and be seated. So I promise you that I will be brief. Is there anybody here who has never heard of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul? Okay. So the Society of St. Vincent de Paul is a worldwide Christian community outreach ministry which services the poor. Okay, so that's a worldwide mission. What's our mission here in Hudson? And for my talking points, I photocopied a business review that I did for our parishioners. Our conference is located at St. Mary's Catholic Church here in Hudson. And let me just touch on a couple of things. Our mission here in Hudson can be broken down into 2 phases. The first are our charitable works. That's the back-to-school supplies program, and I know Phil Herman is here, and thank you, Phil, for all of your support. Doreen and Kendra just support us like crazy. It's really humbling. Thank you.
The second is the Hudson Community Christmas Giving Tree. Now, the back-to-school supplies program, the Hudson Giving Tree, we both coordinate out of the superintendent's office. The superintendent's office identifies those families that have students that are on free or reduced lunch, and those being the most needy. And those are the families that we focus on. There's about 5%, and I don't know if you're aware of this, of the approximately 4,600 students in the Hudson City School District that are on free or reduced lunch. So that's about 246 students. The last thing that we do
is that on a weekly basis, we provide non-perishable foods to the food pantry. Is everybody aware that there's a food pantry here in Hudson? Okay, it's being operated out of the Rejoice Lutheran Church, and once a month, the fourth Saturday, they distribute to approximately 30 families. We also supply non-perishable foods to the Emergency Assistance Center in Northfield. Now, Northfield is a larger operation. They're open 5 days a week, and they service like 8 different zip codes to include 44236 Hudson, and they service about 30 families. So all of this is coordinated through the Hudson City Schools, through the Hudson Ministerial Association, and the Hudson Community Service Association. So it's very much a collaborative effort. The second phase of our mission here is direct contact with the poor. And as Donna mentioned, we operate a helpline, which is located at St. Mary's Church, and people who need assistance with utilities, can't pay their rent, will call in, we'll do a phone interview, and then we'll coordinate with Kristen Keller, who's the Community Resource Coordinator under the Hudson Ministerial Association, and we'll work those cases with her. And I've just outlined a couple of stats for you. For 2017, we provided assistance to a total of 92 families in the Hudson area. Total people assisted was 436 people. Home visits, and this is at the core of St. Vincent de Paul. We don't just give out money if people call in. We send a team out to do an assessment, to do an interview, and then we work the case with a licensed social worker to properly vet that request for assistance. On home visits, we did a total of 78. Other in-person visits, and those are people that were meeting up at the church or at a McDonald's, at a place other than their home. We conducted 106 visits. Our service hours, St. Vincent de Paul service hours, and those are the volunteer service hours done by our conference members, was over 1,000 hours. A financial breakdown of the assistance that we gave during 2017, total rent assistance was almost $18,000. Total utility assistance was $3,300. Total vehicle and home repair was $4,000. Additional assistance provided $3,300. In that additional assistance category, those are things we bought 18 pair of winter boots for homeless veterans at the Freedom House. We bought kitchen ovens for the Miller House, which is in Canada. That's the only shelter for that whole families can stay at. We just purchased $500 worth of blankets for the Peter Morin Center down in Akron, that they normally just have a hot lunch, but during extreme cold periods, they'll allow the homeless to come in, sleep on mats, and they didn't have any blankets. Okay, total assistance for 2017 was $28,670. So I mentioned I would be brief, and I'm going to end the way I began by saying thank you very much. None of this can be accomplished in helping the less fortunate in our community unless we have organizations like the Rotary who are willing to put forth money and help us accomplish our mission. So again, thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you.
And next is the gala. Ron and Gail wanted to come up and talk to you about the gala, and then Gail's going to step here and introduce our speakers after she's done with the gala. Did I forget anybody? No, because James is going to speak about the gala too.
What are you going to say?
You go first.
Oh, really?
Well, before you start, then I'll start. I just wanted to mention that last Thursday, Evan and I attended a dinner and a recognition for the 6th District Compact recognized our Rotary Club as one of the sponsors in the community for all the good works that we've done. They recognized all the Rotaries in the 6th District Compact area. It was quite an honor. We were given a plaque and recognition. It was very nice. So I just wanted to mention to you that our good works aren't going on not noticed. So.
Thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to say how pleased I was when I walked in this morning to see all the lovely gifts on the table over there that you have been diligently out there soliciting. So the deadline is April 27th. What's today, 11th? So we have 2 weeks left. So go, 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 everybody. Get your gifts in so they can get registered or uploaded onto the website. We hope to go live on the Gesture website the beginning of the, it's actually May 11th or 12th, right before the date of the, so we get people who cannot attend but would like to still bid on items, so they will have that opportunity as well as you will, even prior to the big event on the 18th. Ron?
The table took care of one of the things I was going to talk about, because up until today we had 13 silent auction gifts and 4 live auction gifts for a total of about $20,000. So we had a long ways to go. I think we still have a long ways to go. I do want to commend one Rotarian who brought in everything today and a sheet that matches everything and gave us back his folder with everything all filled out. Bill Woldridge, way to go.
Right,
I mean, that's what we want to see. It saves everybody else down the line a lot of work. Ticket sales. We have, as of last night, we have 11 tickets sold. 3 Rotarians have purchased tickets, and so that indicates that maybe you haven't figured out how to access the site. So here you go.
Okay, so we're going to show you how this works. Just got to aim the camera there so we'll know. Okay, on the website, you see where it says register or donate? So if you kind of hover over, a little hand pops up when it says donate. It's actually the exact, it's not just donate, it's register and donate. So you go ahead and you click on that, and that'll take you to a screen where you can buy tickets. And I had actually already gone through it. So you click on buy tickets, and then I already signed you up a $5,000 level. You're all set. But anyway, so this was the screen. Let's see if I can go back on it. But anyway, this was, I had already gone down and registered for tickets. You make your selection. Let's see if I can go back to that. Okay, yeah, this is the first screen where you can make your selection. Single tickets would be just tickets to the gala, and then you can see all the different sponsorship levels. Here I put in 2, and you can see over here it gives you your total. And then down below you can add a donation. And then very generously, not only is a $5,000 sponsor, but also donated $2,500. So it's just really great. And then you just go through and you give it your information, and you're all set. There's also a place to register if you're not going but want to bid on products from your home. So even if you're not able to go, you could still participate.
Correct. And you can get there basically the same way. So anyway, those 11 tickets, 3 Rotarians count for 8 of them, and we have 3 other guests coming. So evidently we've, we really got a ways to go. Now the sponsors will fill probably 100 seats, but that leaves about another 170 to 180 tickets for Rotarians and their friends to fill up the hall. So please go to the site and get started filling those seats. And thanks for all the gifts. If anybody has a large gift that they need to drop off, give me a call. You can drop it off at my house. You won't have to carry it in here and me carry it back out again. So thanks for everything you've done this week. Keep up the good work. 2 weeks to go for gifts, and about almost 4 weeks to go for tickets, but no, not quite that much. So get started. Thank you.
Isn't it the most fun evening of the year? May 18th. Okay, it is my pleasure to give you a little bit of background on the service learning class. It is a unique course that combines the disciplines of social studies and English with application and service to the community. 3 days a week, Service Learning offers students selections from classical and contemporary literature that focus on the nature of humankind and society, the human condition, the philosophical basis of American government, and participatory citizenship. The course additionally focuses on the contemporary issues of discussions and debates. The other 2 days a week, students are engaged in meaningful, human-centered service at a community agency. It is through the agency that students receive a hands-on experience of what the academic component has been focusing on through in-depth research projects, and real-world experiences. Additionally, in the service learning class, students have the rare opportunity to develop collegial relationships with diverse professionals that further enhance their personal and educational development. This year, the Service Learning is incredibly excited and honored to be receiving an official proclamation from the Ohio Senate and Senator Joel Euchre on Wednesday, April 25th at 6:15 p.m. The award will be given to the class while they are on their Appalachian Service Project, more specifically during the senior prom at the Ohio Veterans Home in Georgetown, Ohio. In conjunction, the Rotary Club of Hudson it's been our privilege and our honor to work with the Service Learning class for a number of years, and each time we get involved in a project, the students write handwritten notes, many of which I distributed this morning because Lonnie brought a big stack in. So yes, there you go. And then one in general to the Rotarians, which I would like to read. Dear Rotarians, as always, thank you for all you do for the community for service learning. The feedback you provide during a random act of kindness truly helps our students to become better speakers, academics, and community servants. Your wisdom, kindness, and insight is so valuable. We are so blessed to have a partnership with all of you. Sincerely, Lonnie Banner. And with that, let's bring Lonnie and Marty Bach up to the podium.
Switch off. Do you want to start? Okay. So good morning, everyone. Thank you for having us. So we, of course, are here to talk to you about the Service Learning Program, a little bit about its history, what we do out in the community. I know many of you see our students, but many of you have asked for an overall of what we do, both in the classroom and outside in our various trips. So that's our purpose here today. I guess I will handle the clicker.
You handle the clicker.
And that goes, there we go.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm Lonnie. It's so nice to see all of you. Marty and I figured we'd tell you a little bit about ourselves before we jump into service learning. So this is my family. On the screen. Gail was so wonderful, and a couple of years ago she helped Matt, that's my partner, you've met him at the gala for the last several years, in the top right-hand corner. We bought a little farm out in Hinckley, Ohio, so we're about 30 minutes from here, and one of my lifelong dreams was, in addition to teaching, to have a small organic vegetable farm. So we also rescue a whole bunch of animals. So you see our senior citizen chickens, our potbelly pigs that came from Happy Trails Farm Animal Rescue in Ravenna, and then of course all of our cats and our dogs. So we've got a busy, quiet life, but we really enjoy it. I went to Ohio University. I did my undergraduate in secondary English education and also my master's there in multicultural education with a specific focus on women's studies and social justice before coming to teach in Hudson in 2002. So this is my 16th year of teaching, and I have been with the Service Learning Program my entire career. And Marty?
Okay. So I'm Marty Bach, and a little bit about my background. So I am from the south side of Chicago. It's where I grew up, not in the suburbs in the city. So, all right, go Bears and go Sox. All right. I went to a all-boys Catholic school on the south side known as Brother Rice. And from there, I went on to Northwestern University, where I got a bachelor's in history and a master's in education. But the most important thing that I found in Northwestern was not academics, but it was love. So I fell in love with Allison Schmidt. And she was from the sleepy hamlet known as Shaker Heights, which I had actually had to study in the development of modern American city class as the first suburb ever built in the United States. And so little did I know I would end up living there. So Allison got a good, in terms of scholarship offer for Case Western School of Law. So I said, well, I'll teach in Cleveland. Never been there before, and ended up accepting a job offer at Hudson High School. So my first graduating class was 2002, so I've been here ever since. I was hired to teach the service learning program, and of course when you're a new teacher and you're 22, 23 years old, you just, sure, whatever. Like my first gig, you're going to teach debate. Like, great. So anything. So I got in and they said, well, what's service learning? So there were two teachers who had established it, helped me through. Principal Joe Specia at the time sent me to Seattle for an entire week to go to the National Service Learning Conference. So I could walk around and listen to speakers and find out what it's all about. So from there, Lonnie and I have developed it, as you're about to find out. I live up in, like I said, Shaker Heights. My wife and I have two young boys. Alexander's next to me. As a history teacher, he's named for Alexander the Great. And then next to him is William, who's named for William the Conqueror. So as I told them, I said, if they don't conquer the known world by 33 or 34, they didn't live up to my expectations. So it's a little bit about me.
So a little bit about service learning. It actually originated at the college level before it moved into secondary education. Harvard, Yale, Stanford, UCLA, all these huge schools started service learning, and they still have service learning programs to this day. They're sometimes called living and learning communities, so if your grandchildren or your children are in college, that is where you're going to see service at the post-secondary level. And a lot of colleges are specifically looking for that real-world activist experience on their applications as they're choosing their schools for next year. And then what happened from there is Ohio was actually at the forefront of the service learning program in the entire United States. Probably the most well-known school is North Olmsted, and that is where we based our program off of. So currently right now we are one of, I believe, 3 model schools for the state of Ohio, and before the recession we actually used to go around the state and train other classes and districts on how to use the service learning methodology. So that's part of what we do, is reach out to neighboring communities. Students get 3 credits for being a part of our class. They get 1 credit of English, 1 credit of contemporary issues, and then 1 credit of service. And that's when they're out doing their 5 hours minimum every single week. So on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, students are with us for English and for contemporary issues. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, instead of coming to class, that's when they're out and they're at Access Women's Shelter, or they're at the Summit County Prosecutor's Office, because we try to connect whatever we're doing in the classroom, whether it's with literature or debate or current events, with what they're learning directly at their site. It's great to read about poverty in, you see some of the classic British texts, but it's even more important then to take what you've learned from that text and then apply it at your site, and to see it in practice and to move to action. So that's our goal. There's always an action step to our education.
Sorry. There we go. So the purpose of service learning, the reason this was developed. Really, the program was developed in the late 90s, and it has since expanded from that point. But essentially, these are the reasons to implement it. First off, a lot of the students always talk about the Hudson bubble. That Hudson, all right, is wonderful community, but they're not exposed to a lot of the issues of the greater community around them within Hudson. So this was specifically to get them outside of Hudson proper and see the differences that you hit if you just go 15 minutes into Macedonia, 25 minutes south into Akron, 25 minutes east into Ravenna, and how quickly issues change and concerns change in their immediate, outside environment. To step outside their comfort zones. We always talk about that in service learning. Increasingly with a lot of students with today with, say, the internet, smartphone technology, and that having that interpersonal relationship with someone else, sitting and talking to a hospice patient or working with a set of volunteers at the Salvation Army, they don't get that as much. And so this is to put them in a situation they often call awkward, where they can develop those skills of how to work in a team or work with others or talk to someone face to face. To change preconceived notions. And you see there's many up there, classmates, groups, and ideas. A lot of them come in as seniors. Well, they are all seniors. It's their last year of high school. And one of the first things we tell them is we say, we start right here. Many of you have preconceived notions of who each other are. For example, if you all seen The Breakfast Club, right, that kind of thing. Well, that's the jock here, right? That's the nerdy kid. That's the kid who picked on me in middle school, right, and all that. And we say, now is the day you got to start leaving that behind. Give somebody a second chance. See them as something else than just the quarterback of the football team, or you know, the girl has the nicest clothes, or whatever it might be. Then it moves on to groups. So when you're working, right, in the retirement communities like Laurel Lake or Gardens West Reserve, that you work with the elderly and you break down what your ideas of them are. Or you go into Ravenna, which is mostly, our tutoring is almost all African American students, that you break down, right, that barrier as well, working with that group. And then also ideas. We regularly discuss ideas in the classroom, it'd be political, social, and all that. And we create a culture in the classroom that everybody's ideas are respected, you don't make any personal attacks, and you address the concern and the idea. You don't go after the person. Joy and gratitude. Lonnie does a lot with English about themes, not just say we're going to look at Shakespeare, but we're going to look at a unit on humor, a unit on gratitude, about cultivating those human emotions and how we can show that to someone, whether it is through a thank you note or through doing something for someone else. To encourage civic activism in terms of our class, like Lonnie said, we try to get active. So, for example, we do something academically, but what can we do to make it real? And even if it's just something minor. For example, I was kind of surprised, one of our policy units, one of the things that they identified in the city of Hudson was pothole and road repair, specifically Middleton Road. And rather than just complaining there's so many potholes in Middleton Road, they specifically researched and said there's a specific type of asphalt from Michigan State. They got a new program for it. This asphalt works better. It will be more cost effective. It stands up to the cold better and all this. And we said, great, forward it to the city engineer. Right, have them look at it. A couple years ago, we had a tremendous fisherman in class. Whoever I knew I had a tremendous fisherman, but I did. And his name was Anthony. He regularly fished at Hudson Springs. And he identified, he said, the fish that were being stocked in Hudson Springs were not the appropriate fish for that lake, and that they had to constantly be restocked. They couldn't overwinter. It wasn't good for the lake. It wasn't good economically. So he did his presentation to the Parks Department, and when it was all done, the Parks Department said, we're going to go with your plan because we've just been ordering the same fish that was ordered the last 15 years and we didn't really know what. So this works. That's great. And so that doesn't happen with everything, but I told them, I said, even if you just plant an idea out there in the community about something, you know, it might spawn something else. And then finally down there it says to foster compassion and empathy. A lot of that is, again, working with people that you can start to see things from their point of view or understand what they're going through. That everybody has a story to tell, everybody has something they're dealing with, and that you can empathize with that.
So a little bit about our history. We're actually in our 20th year right now. So we're very, very proud of that. And in 1998, it began with two teachers, Dee Phillips and Bridget Fada, with the help of Joe Specia, with 25 students. In 2002, we had 40 students, and that was actually our very first year partnering with all of you when we did the Tinkers Creek Restoration Project, if you can remember, 16 years ago when that happened. In 2008, because we kept getting more and more people applying, we expanded our program to 60 students. And then in 2016, we had 190 students apply for 60 spots. And so because our numbers, our applicant numbers keep going up, we're so grateful for Superintendent Herman, Assistant Superintendent Doreen Osman, as well as our school board, because they expanded our program to 90 students and we added 2 other teachers. So Brittany Amier and Jamie Cosman, perhaps you've seen them here at a couple Rotary meetings. So now we run 3 sections of service learning, 30 students each, 2 in the morning and then 1 in the afternoon. And our goal is the more people we can get out into the community doing service, hands-on work, the more that we can continue to cultivate continued sense of empathy, of human connection, and just activism in terms of how can we make the Hudson community, Summit County, et cetera, a better place.
So one of the things we're regularly asked by, your Rotarians have asked us this before, parents and especially students, is okay, with those applications of students who want in the program, what are we looking for? In order to be accepted in the service learning program, juniors apply around early January. They fill out an application online. We also get teacher recs. We conduct a 10 to 15 minute personal interview, 2 of us with 1 student, and we also look at things like their attendance record, tardy records, things like that, because if we're giving them the flexibility to leave campus 2 days a week during school time, we have to know that their attendance for their other classes has been strong, so their math and science credits are good. We're looking, are they willing to step outside of their comfort zone? Are they willing to take some risks? Are they willing to be in a situation that they're not as comfortable with? I mean, it's the standard routine. Show up to school 8 o'clock, do your classes, leave at 3, or go to practice after that. Are you willing to do something where you're going to go and drive into Akron 1 day a week, work with kids at Leggett Elementary for 4 hours on math who come from a very, very different background from you? Are you willing to do that? And that's not really, some of these things are not really a statement on the students, like the one's good or one's bad. Just some aren't ready for that yet. So we kind of gauge that through their interview and what they're telling us, whether or not they're going to be comfortable doing that and whether this is a good fit for them. Are you flexible? Again, kind of compassionate, going to hit that. A team player versus the individual. In the service learning classroom, if you walked into Hudson High School A202, you see tables similar to the ones you're sitting at. It's not the rows of traditional desks used to in a classroom. So every day they're facing each other. Every day they're working in teams or groups in the classroom on things. And Lonnie mixes them up every day. So they don't get to sit where they want. They come in, they see a post-it note, and I'm sitting with so-and-so today. Next time I'm sitting with someone else. So they all get to know each other, and they learn how to work with everybody that's at their table. So are you willing to do a lot of group work and be a team player and work collaboratively instead of a student? And I admit I was more this type of student who was ready to just do everything individually. I got this 100%, and it's me. That's kind of what we're looking for. Can you have a conversation with an adult you just met? So again, this is one of those things, is a student ready for that? If you go down the Salvation Army, soup kitchen. You have people coming in right off the street for lunch. You have people who you're working with in the kitchen who might be there fulfilling some community service, right? Hours is a diversion program, right? Or at the food bank. You go to hospice. You have somebody who hasn't had visitors for 2 months and they're at end of life. Are you comfortable sitting down with somebody and having a conversation, talking to somebody? And then finally down at the bottom, GPAs and says test scores weigh very little in our decisions. You can see the range that we can have there as GPAs in class. Sometimes the absolute strongest students, GPA-wise, are not the best fit for service learning, because that might be a student who is very good at, you know, doing the tests, doing the curriculum, doing the traditional routine things, but if you create all this unstructured, they don't know where to go with it. So it really, we try to gauge, it's a different type of skill set and comfort level that we're looking at with students. So that's just a little bit of what we're looking for.
So a little bit about English, and so this is Jamie Kosman and myself. It's always democratic and collaborative. So we have a series of standards that we need to hit from the Common Core, along with a couple of key pieces of literature, and we've put them in themes. So for example, we've done gratitude, humor, random acts of kindness, what does it mean to be a community servant, friendship, facing symbolic monsters in our lives, and students get to pick those themes. And underneath those themes, there's a classic core work, some contemporary literature, and then some sort of research action project. And so we do one theme a quarter. Some of the classical pieces that we've studied this year include Canterbury Tales, Beowulf, British Romantic poetry, Frankenstein, The Time Machine, etc. And then you've seen some of our more contemporary ones with our random acts of kindness research projects, where students have to select a group that they're comfortable with and they're uncomfortable with, research those, and then do an action project, and then present that in front of you. And our goal also is to hit those speaking standards, because next year when they attend college, they need to be able to get up and present to people who can give them feedback on their poise, their research, what could they have done better, as well as have a conversation about what else they could do to better the community. We also do contemporary literature in terms of choice books. We try to do a lot of high interest reading. So for example, this year, Jamie and I selected the novel, actually it's an autobiography called Tweak, and it's about addiction to methamphetamines. And because that is sort of a theme that we're trying to be preventing here in the Hudson community and outside. And we have many students in our class this year whose families have been touched by addiction in some way. So we try to find literature that connects to their home personal lives and what's also going out on in the community. So we're constantly adding literature and meeting with media specialist Marsha Curry, so we're getting those diverse texts in to balance with our classical pieces. But again, we take these themes and we move to action. So in gratitude, we looked at some British Romantic poetry, and then the students had to go out and do gratitude quests. So for example, Eliza Pearson and Kristen Potts, what they did was they wanted young women to feel more grateful for the beauty that they were naturally given. So they made all of these inspirational body positive posters and anonymously posted them all throughout the women's restrooms at the schools. And so they were getting these Snapchats of, well, who put up these posters? This is really great. And nobody knew it was them. So we're trying to do these behind the scenes sort of self-esteem boosts to make us all more grateful for what we've sort of been given and how we can share that with others.
So on the social studies contemporary issue side, and this is myself and Brittany Amier, in terms of this, we focus on contemporary issues, another way of saying current events, and we structure it from essentially umbrellas, global to Hudson City Schools. So we start worldwide issues, national issues, both foreign policy and domestic policy, then we go state of Ohio issues, local Hudson City, and then Hudson City School District, looking at issues that way. One of the things that we started the year with, the third bullet point, you see respectful free speech emphasized. I have to admit, this is something I was a little nervous about as time goes on, that it's getting much harder to do that in our whole world, it seems. So I didn't want that in the classroom. I wanted a student who is very conservative, very liberal, anywhere in between, to feel comfortable that they could express their own views without repercussions. And so the way we did it, and it's been very effective this year, is from day one, the first couple weeks, the students collaborated in a team. What rules do they want for class discussion? So they came up with it, all these different provisions. I put them forth on a survey. They voted on them. They decided if it got a majority vote, not a super majority, they went into the classroom rules. And when it was done and they went on them down, they had 14 provisions. Things like no personal attacks, this does not end up on social media, no posting on Twitter and Snapchat, and what happens in the classroom, things like that. And then when it was done, we printed it out on a big butcher piece of paper, and like Declaration of Independence, John Locke style, had them all sign their name, and then hung it up in the classroom. So all year long, when they've been debating issues that are largely, again, their choice, they've chosen to debate Syrian refugees, immigration policy, prostitution, legalized marijuana, things like that. They've largely been self-regulating. I'm just a little bit of a moderator, but there's been times that so-and-so is pointing up, hey, rule number 7 right up there, right? And so it's been a lot better, it's a lot respectful, because they came up with these rules together as a class. With that, we also do, it says analytical writing discussions rather than factual recall. It's not a lot of the traditional history test, who, what, when, where, but presenting your opinion on something, backing it up with some facts, but being able to express it orally and writing to one of your classmates to have a discussion about it. Where we have student choice and discussions and in policy project, many of you were in to help with our policy presentations. So you saw the various topics that the students chose and then worked together on a team. So example, at the state of Ohio issue, a number of them did the opioid problem and the opioid epidemic, and presented some provisions on how to deal with that. We sent it on to Representative Rogner and Senator LaRose for their considerations. At the Hudson City level, we had everything identified. Like I said, the potholes, road maintenance before, but also things about lighting Veterans Parkway, the park there, basketball courts, the skate park. Even something that came up was just a local business thing, was the Hudson McDonald's, just just striping the walkway better for the drive-through. Things that I wouldn't know, but that they picked up. And then for Hudson City Schools, they've identified a number of things with mental health issues in the Hudson City Schools, things also with our parking lot at the end of the day, and again, we had administrators in, and again, not everything, says, oh, 100% we're going to do it, but they understand, well, the idea's out there, is where the compromise, oh, there's something I never knew about before, that's actually a zoning issue with the city, that's not something this high school can solve, all right, so it gets them understanding the various governments that they live under and the issues and what can be done with there. Finally, in the second semester, we have a criminal justice unit. Over the years, the students have always told me that they love criminal justice, and we had more flexibility to do it this year. So we, after we give them some basics in criminal justice, we did a cold case, first year of doing that. And it was a homicide of a girl in Shaker Heights. Actually, my wife knew her from Girl Scouts, named Lisa Pruitt, and got all of the witness statements. It was teenagers who were involved, so it was their age group in Shaker Heights. And I didn't know I was going to go. They ran with it. Many history majors become lawyers. So this was actually giving them what their history education is. They've debated before, should Truman have dropped the atomic bomb? These things. Now, well, here's a debate. Who murdered this girl? Was it this gentleman? Was it this gentleman? Was it this person? They looked through all the witness statements. They tore things apart. They created their own timelines without me even asking. I found out they hijacked other classes because a science teacher is saying, what are you talking about over there? Well, we're talking about this. You're doing what in box class? And I had a girl end up calling one of the principals on the phone, meaning someone involved 20 years ago, found him online, found him on the phone, got information, didn't know she was going to do that, all of this. And in the end, when they debated their case, they ended up just like the case ended up, hung jury, mistrial. And it said even after everything you went through, some of them were amazed. How can you not believe that so-and-so did it? Well, I think I have a reasonable doubt here, so. So that worked very well, but it was a little touchy doing something because I had to constantly remind her, like, this is real, this girl died. So there was that. And then we just recently completed a mock trial. So they enjoyed that. They got dressed up as attorneys, play witnesses, and do that. Finally, our last unit's going to be consumer finance. One of the things we always say with seniors is, what are the skills you need to know before you go to college? And we're going to be looking at how do credit cards work, how to apply for a credit card, how you properly shop for a car, how you get auto insurance, what you need to have covered, how you're going to get that rental policy when you move off campus your sophomore year, all of that so that they have some of the basic life skills as well to manage their money in that out there in the United States.
So you've heard about many of our agency experiences from our students coming during the week. So students are required to do 5 hours of service a week, and that includes drive time, and oftentimes they do about on average of 7. They get 2 agency experiences. First semester, it's a site they're comfortable with. On their applications, they rank one of the groups down at the bottom, and we put them in one of their top 3. And then second semester, we push them out. So if you've been avoiding working with the homeless, you're going to go work with the homeless second semester, because we want to start breaking down those barriers and those preconceived notions of what we have. So that's about how that works. And then the next 2 slides are just, these are all the agencies that we work with. Maybe. So here's our first list. Some of the ones here, and then here's our second list as well too. So on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, what Marty, Brittany, Jamie, and I do is we are out and about driving around Summit and Portage County, checking in with all of our kids. We try to get to our kids at least once a quarter, and sometimes there's one kid. We, for example, have 1 student at Twinsburg UDS, but we also have 2 kids at Community Connections. So we're constantly driving around and checking in and collaborating with all these organizations. So, again, our goal is let's do something comfortable to get your feet wet and have this really great service experience, and then let's throw you off the deep end so you're working with somebody who you never thought you'd work with before.
And if you remember, I apologize, I remember your name. John, I remember John's presentation began where he mentioned the Emergency Assistance Center, the Miller House, and all that. That's up on our list. So when John was sharing that with the St. Vincent de Paul Society, we were saying, yep, know that one, know what they do, know that one, know what they do. So it's great to see, again, various Hudson organizations, including us, coming together, helping out right in the greater community. For example, Hudson Community First is one of ours, also that we have a student at. In addition to their regular site placement, we regularly have every week extra service. We tell the students about it on a Friday. They sign up over the weekend, and so they're ready to go for the next week. Some examples of what we do for extra service that would hit evening and weekends. First Glance is down in Akron, and it is a program that they do on Tuesday nights where for teen moms. The teen mothers come to the center. They get education classes on child rearing and that. In exchange, then they can go to the donation center. Well, of course, while the teen moms are doing that, who's going to watch their babies or toddlers or that? So our students go down there and provide then the daycare while they're in class. Next, it says Gardens Bingo, Gardens in Western Reserve, up in Streetsboro, right across Frost Road. Students go there on Wednesdays, call bingo, help with bingo, and again, it's not so much about playing the game, it's the social interaction, talking with somebody as it's going on. Middle school buddies on Wednesdays at Hudson Middle School. Some of our students who really need some guidance or assistance or a positive role model, they go down and help with them. Sorry, go one back. I hit the wrong button. Fishes and Loaves on Saturdays, that is a faith-based organization down in Akron. They again go work down there, and we were connected through one of our Hudson's high school staff members with that. The Akron Blind Walk for the Akron Blind Center, the Alzheimer's Association, those are given fundraisers. Salvation Army bell ringing during the holiday season, our students do that usually at Acme. The PTO pancake breakfast, book sales to the PTO, project support through our special ed program at the high school. First Serve events, we had the big First Serve event in the fall with the various faith organizations throughout Hudson, going down to Akron. Stewart's Caring Place is a center for people going through cancer in Akron. So they do parties specifically for the families who are dealing with that. They help with that. And then Sherry Bevan Walsh has a number of self-defense nights, specifically for women. And so a lot of our female students will go there, help that, and they also learn self-defense tactics as well.
Well, to wrap up, we always do our Camp Ledgewood overnight, and then we have our Appalachian Service Project. And that's going to be coming up in 2 weeks, where we're going down to Adams, Brown, Claremont, and Highland counties. And then our last slide, Marty. Thank you. And these are just some of the items that we're really proud of. We're a model program for Ohio, and we are a certifying organization for a Presidential Service Award that started after 9/11. We received the Best Service Learning Program in Ohio in 2009, and we've been partnering with youth since 2002. We received in 2003 the Ohio Bicentennial Future Project of the Year for our collaborative work with Tinkers Creek, and then we're very excited to receive our Ohio Senate proclamation in 2 weeks from Senator Euchre. So we've worked really hard, but what it comes down to is it's all about the students. It's about putting them outside of their comfort zone, seeing that they have the power to make a difference in the community, and to use that power to benefit the lives of others. So we're very lucky and very happy to be a part of service learning, but it truly is about the kids and making the world a better place. So thank you so much.
Lonnie and Marty said they would stay a couple minutes after if anyone has any questions, so that if you have questions, they will answer them. To wrap things up, I want to thank our audiovisual crew, setup crew, Dan Rich, Tom Page, Tom Tobin, James Field, and Ron Barnhouse. Thank you very much. And I want to remind everyone that we have a board meeting directly following this meeting this morning. And our Rotabuck.
The last four is 5830. 5830.
It's worth $14, and the jackpot's worth $267. Woo!
It's our returning member, Mark Salem.
Yeah, I was told that he used to be a member and took a little bit of a break. It's called having children and helping. And nope. And there's the black one is in there. Oh, here. Trust each other again and again, and we'll build great teams. And that's what we have, a great team. Thank you for coming, and have a good week.